If you're not quite convinced yet that Hedera Hashgraph and the HBAR token are going to fundamentally impact the world in a big way, well, this is absolutely a video not to miss. Today, we are going to be diving into the realms of IoT, which stands for the Internet of Things, and what Hedera is doing. Now, first of all, let me sort of preface this with what IoT is. IoT is essentially, like I said, the Internet of Things. And it's essentially the concept of the same way that we connect through the internet as human beings, things will connect with one another. So that could be devices, computers, sensors, all of these kind of things. And essentially, all the devices that exist will, with all the information they have, be able to connect with one another and form this kind of new internet, the Internet of Things. This is a big, big deal and something that's coming. Certainly when we talk about this sci-fi futuristic world that we're moving towards, this will enable that. If you talk about, for example, the Internet of Things as it exists right now, if you look at Tesla's self-driving cars, that is essentially working or a part of the Internet of Things. This is going to expand and expand and expand. And just on the topic of that, there are some downsides with all of this. You know that if you are a Tesla driver, Tesla have the right and can just shut your car down at any point, which is an interesting downside to all of this. But it's coming. Hedera is going to play a major role here. So not only is Hedera revolutionizing finance, not only is it revolutionizing AI, it is also revolutionizing IoT and the world more broadly. And actually, we're going to be showing you that in this video, certainly using IoT as a good example. Before I do so, we've got a number of clips to get into. I want to highlight this. So this is from Greg Bell, who is the Chief Business Officer over at the HBAR Foundation. Now, he tweeted this: when a Prime Minister calls, you answer. Off to Europe to help another nation state evaluate modernizing its core financial infrastructure with Hedera. Exciting possibilities, the future of finance. HBAR. And I think Hedera has some great roots in the United States. It's going to be very interesting to see if it takes part in the summit that's taking place on Friday. But we're here to talk about IoT. And a good place for me to start is with a recent interview that we filmed with Rob Allen. Just like with the internet, with these technologies, it only really takes one killer breakthrough or one killer application to gain mass adoption to ignite and really see an entire chain and ecosystem propelled into the stratosphere. The beautiful thing about Hedera is it has so many sort of fingers in so many different pies that it kind of seems hard to not envision its success in the future. And this potentially, whether it's some of the applications that are building on Neuron, or for example SealQ, whether it's in the realm of IoT, whether it's in the realm of finance, whether it's in the realm of anywhere, is essentially there's a high likelihood that something big is coming, guys, for HBAR. You can just see, just like with the internet, people had to build. They built the next Facebooks, Microsoft, Apples, etc., etc. Ultimately, we're in this kind of stage now for DLTs.
The Internet of Things was envisaged as unique devices that are connected across the internet, usually with their own IP address, therefore uniquely addressable, with special purposes. So that could be a sensor, that could be your Fitbit or Garmin watch. It could be all of the data collectors at the edge for whatever purpose. And they're connected via a handful of different network protocols, but ultimately, it's that kind of billions or even trillions of devices that surround us all every day and are constantly collecting data, and that's the Internet of Things. More recently, your question was about the crossover with distributed ledger technology and how they affect each other. We have this new acronym, which is DePIN, so decentralized physical infrastructure. So IoT devices have traditionally contributed into the collection of an aggregation of data for infrastructure, whether that be sensors in fields or cameras in factories, or temperature moderating devices, all of those things. Decentralized physical infrastructure is, the decentralized networks that support, similar or the same devices, but in a more decentralized way. The point about decentralization remains, whether we're talking about finance or tokenization or any of the use cases, it's a trust layer. Decentralization equates to trust, and trust is usually itself characterized by the removal of intermediaries that don't add value, the ability to transact peer-to-peer without anyone getting in the way, the management of one's own keys if one wants it. All of these capabilities are thrown up by these base trust layers. So when you're talking about decentralized physical infrastructure and the IoT as a combination, you then start having really interesting infrastructural new ways of doing things.
If you think about how important the information that's going to come off these devices are and how sort of vulnerable they are given the current IT stack, it's very interesting that actually a distributed ledger can be applied here, just like it can with AI, just like it can with finance, and essentially revolutionize an entire industry and create a new industry out of it. And Hedera already has its feet well and truly under that table, essentially combining a DLT with IoT to create this entirely new infrastructure upon which this world can run, just like it's doing with finance. I know this sounds very over-exaggerative in regards to what I'm saying here, but it is the facts of the matter. This technology is being used to underpin the entire financial system because of these aspects that apply to the IoT. Let's look at two examples that Rob gave us, and then we're going to get into more of a recent development with Neuron Network and what they're doing. I think this was a great video to do because it just highlights the impactful nature of Hedera. We love HBAR. I know you guys do too.
So two examples of these that are ones that we like to talk about in the Hedera ecosystem: Neuron and CLSQ. So there are others, but they've kind of emerged at a similar time from different areas, but are very good at exemplifying what a network such as Hedera can bring to bear. So Neuron has many things, and it's kind of evolved over the time that we've known them and worked with them. But they're kind of known as being a network that supports drones, and drone ensuring that drones keep to drone corridors for aircraft regulatory purposes, maybe in the future for the delivery of goods via drones, or possibly when we have personal drones and we can kind of fly around from place to place. So that they're putting in the networks that are that enable that. They're also opening up APIs and open sourcing parts of their network so that this can proliferate and flourish. And in that example, drones are IoT devices. They're cameras. They move. They can deliver things. So and they're part of this decentralized network then. And Neuron have this lovely explorer called 4D Sky, where you can see where all their nodes are and the data they're collecting from aircraft actually that are flying around. So that's a great example of that, using that trust layer to ensure that those particular flying devices are complying with the corridors that they have to fly in, or that they're doing the thing that they're meant to be doing.
And this is the thing that you'll find throughout Hedera and its ecosystem, is it's literally partnered, potentially correlated to the fact that it's ran by the largest institutions in the world. So again, talking about what distributed ledgers are going to be successful, well, the ones that are actually used and utilized and have those killer use cases that bring billions of people to the chain. I need to turn this emoji thing off. But it's very interesting, and I thought this was a really interesting video. So that was Rob. Obviously, we've done that interview with him. This kind of all ties into some news that we had today in regards to 4D Sky. Now, 4D Sky, just very quickly to go into the Neuron website, they're a DePIN spotlight. 4D Sky is a DePIN network for professional-grade flight tracking sensors with a mission to integrate the next generation of future flight aircrafts, such as drones and air taxis. With several apps already integrated with the network, 4D Sky is now the most utilized DePIN flight tracker network in the world. And this was from them today. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a brand new open source flight information display, freshly installed in a UK airport, powered by Neuron and Hedera. The idea that the ATC was powered by a man binoculars until very recently is madness. And this is the beauty of technology. This is, of course, from the HBAR Foundation. UK Gov plus Neuron plus Hedera equals 4D Sky app DePIN. And this is all being enabled by Hedera. Brandon, the HBAR bull, somebody you should all be following, by the way, if you're not already, did also manage to interview the co-founder and CEO of Neuron. Let's listen to what he has to say about this recent development, because this is a big deal. And these guys are already partnered with major institutions.
Really, really pleased. Like, we were actually in Dubai at this investor conference at GBC, where you're doing all these one-to-one pitches. And we just got up on stage after winning first place. And we're obviously all super, super pleased with that. You know, getting investors telling you that you're the most investable of a room full of startups was awesome. So we're already in high spirits. And I just thought I'd check my emails, you know, as you do afterwards. And we just had a notification come through from the Civil Aviation Authority saying that our project was successful. And basically what they wanted us to do is to upgrade some of the ATC services in 3 of the airports, small airports to begin with, in the UK, using the Neuron Edge Network infrastructure. So what that's doing, really, one of the big problems you've got with aviation is that you've got all of these cloud-based intermediaries or data aggregators who they take all of the data from these flight tracking sensors and they aggregate it in the cloud, and then they spit it out to all of their customers via APIs. The problem is that it's hard to go through software assurance on this. It's also hard to aggregate it between multiple vendors as well. You end up with higher latencies, higher costs, unavailability of these systems. And so regulators are quite nervous about using the cloud data for safety critical applications. So what we propose to them is that we use Neuron to transfer data between the airports and between the sensor networks that were surrounding them. And they loved it. They obviously were successful. So we ended up actually winning the bid. And we're literally due to start work in the next couple of weeks on it.
We'll leave that there. You get the picture. This is just one use case and application of Hedera, and there's thousands all being sort of piloted and, you know, interested in by some of the largest institutions in the world. I think the picture is such a clear one when it comes to HBAR, guys. There's a reason it's my largest holding. Of course, do your own due diligence. Go and look up the information that we put out in this video. It's very interesting. It's very impactful. When we talk about this world that we're moving towards, IoT is going to play a staple role. The future financial system it's going to move us into this digital ecosystem, and you find Hedera all over it. And that's really what I look at Hedera as, is it's this global, decentralized operating system. I'll debate anybody all day long on, is Hedera decentralized or not? It absolutely is. In fact, more so than most sort of blockchains out there. But that's a debate we can have in the comment section or in Twitter if you would like to. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Do check out our recent price update, and I'll see you all in the next one.